Hello, and welcome to Smart Mortgage Insights. I'm Mandy LaRose.
And I'm Conor Levinka. Today we're going to talk about one of our favorite programs that is an Alaska exclusive program that is offered through Alaska Housing Finance Corporation. And it is their renovation program. It is an extremely unique program that allows you to do a one-time close on a home you're purchasing, and you can actually refinance it with money at the time of purchase.
Yes.
So the cool thing about it is normally you would need to get an additional loan in order to renovate the loan. So to renovate the house. So to back it up, in Alaska, the majority of homes were built in the 70s and 80s, and realistically 75 to 85, the overwhelming majority. And quite honestly, a lot of them still look like 1982 time capsules.
Yes, they do. Yes. It's pretty common to drive around our neighborhoods and see homes that all look very similar to each other and still maybe stuck in the 80s.
Yep. I mean, Harvest Gold appliances, gold linoleum kitchen flooring, and they're very well-built homes. They just are 40 to 50 years old. And so what do we do with them then?
Well, that's the great thing about the renovation loan program is most properties, when you're buying a home, if you want to, like, let's say you just, you go in, you buy a home, pay $500,000 for it, whatever, and then after you close, you want to do a bunch of work to it. Well, and as far as a kitchen, bathrooms, things like that. Well, the issue a lot of times is you don't have the equity in the property right now to do that work. So you can't go out and get like a second mortgage or a home equity line of credit to do that work, generally, if you paid top dollar for the home, because there's not a lot of equity that's sitting in there. So the nice thing about the renovation loan is you can make an offer on a property, it get accepted. The seller doesn't have to accept that it's a renovation loan because there's not too much that they're going to be dealing with, although they are going to need to be opening their home to allow people to come and do bids for the program. And so basically what we're going to be doing is you, the buyer, you love this home, you want to buy it, but you're like, you know what? I would really love a kitchen remodel with this, or I'd really love a bathroom remodel, or I'd really love all of those things when I buy this property. And so you will get bids for the work that needs to be done. And then you're going to give those bids to us, and then we're going to review those, make sure that they're thorough bids, explain everything that we need for whatever the project is that you're going to do. And then we basically add that project onto your sales price.
Exactly. So as Mandy hinted, the big thing that we can do with the Alaska Housing Renovation Program is we can use a hypothetical value. In our world, everything is based on loan to value. And so if you buy a home for $500,000, as Mandy said, and you put 5% down, well, that home is now $500,000. If you want to put down, put a new kitchen in and spend, some money doing renovations, flooring, that kind of stuff, and you're going to add $75,000 to it, well, the problem is all other loan programs look at your house as a $500,000 home. And so you can't get to the value that you would like to get to. So Alaska Housing, what they will look at is they say, okay, you buy a $500,000 home and you have isolated $75,000 worth of improvements to this. They will then add a contingency to it. And then what we'll do is we'll have a specialized appraiser go out and they will look at the value to ensure that the home is currently worth $500,000. And then the biggest thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that the improvements that you're going to do to the home are added value. And so if we're going to add $75,000, if we just crudely say, adding that, we want to at least make sure that you are going to have an increase of at least $75,000.
Absolutely. So it's really important when you look at the renovation loan that the work that's being done is going to be adding value because we need to have the appraisal represent that value as well. Sometimes, we get situations, especially when we had the earthquake, for example, in 2018, and people had like foundation repairs that need to be done, things like that. while we would love to be able to use this program for things like foundations, well and septics, roof repairs, things like that, the problem with those items is those are real big ticket items. And we don't necessarily know what, even if we have a bid done on your foundation or the roof or well septic, a lot of times we don't know the exact cost until we get into doing the repair, basically. So Connor mentioned that on this loan, there's a contingency held out for any incidentals, things like that. Well, the contingency is 10%. And so with a kitchen, bathroom, things like that that are adding great value, 10% works. But when we're dealing with things like well septics, roofs, where you can get in there and really determine that there's a lot more going on, and if our bid doesn't cover that, that's going to be a problem. So it's important, my roundabout way of saying, it's important that the work you do is going to add value. Not like a septic doesn't add value, or obviously a roof add value, or your foundation add value, but that is maintenance. That just gives you the value of the home at the moment, not necessarily adds because, oh, my house now has a foundation. It's added a bunch of extra value to it.
Yeah, it's kind of expected.
It's expected to have a foundation. These things are shocking.
As Mandy mentioned, a house is expected to have a roof. It's expected to have a foundation.
Yes, yeah. It's expected that you can flush the toilet and the sewer goes somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so you add a $20,000 roof. It's not necessarily going to add $20,000 worth of value to your home. So what we're really looking at is value added things. Big things are kitchens, bathrooms, flooring. Just kind of overall there, just really updating the thing. And Alaska Housing is really awesome in this sense because they're an Alaska company that understands Alaska, and they are going to help out Alaskans. They understand that our inventory here, some of it is aged, and they're trying to bring it up to modern standards. And so they look at everything in particular. So they don't have a blanket yes or no policy on a renovation loan. They are going to examine every single scenario and make a judgment call. And we found that they are very gracious and understanding in their approvals.
Absolutely. A couple, just some quick caveats, just some quick things on this program. One, we can tie it with the Alaska Housing First Time Homebuyer Program. If you're not a first time homebuyer, there are other programs that Alaska Housing offers as well. We can tie it with the Veterans Mortgage Program. There's several programs that we can tie this with through Alaska Housing. Mm-hmm. This is allowed for 1 to 4 unit properties as well.
Owner occupied.
Yeah, owner occupied. These are only for owner occupied properties. These are not for investment properties or things like that. This is for owner occupied 1 to 4 units purchase that you're going to be living in. It is going to be required that any health and safety items that need to be done in the renovation will need to be done within 60 days of closing on the loan, because you do need to owner occupy the property within 60 days of closing. The max renovation loan, around $250,000. I think there's some room to move on that, but general is $250,000. Another really big thing, this is actually a big change to the program. You need to hire a general contractor for the work that is going to need to be done. This is not a program where you're going to be doing the work yourself. There are some conversations that we can certainly have about things, but the general rule of the program is that you are hiring a general contractor to oversee the work being done. And a lot of that has to come in to play as you, the borrower, especially if you're not someone that's, you work at a desk all day long. You're not someone that's out doing construction and coordinating people showing up to your house, especially if it's a big project that you're doing, a big remodel. We need to make sure that we have someone that is coordinating all of this to make sure that the work gets done. Generally, you have 180 days to 365 days to complete the work. And we are going to be sending an inspector over to verify the work is being done as it's being done. We have an escrow department that's going to handle the draws. So the money is going to be held into a separate account, and you're going to request the money as you need it as well.
Definitely. One of the other major things is you have to live there during the construction. So that
That's
is a
fun.
that is a caveat. You have to get your health and safety stuff done within 60 days, but you also need to live there within 60 days. So if you're not okay with living in construction with dust, it may not be the right program for you. They do really want you to get done in 6 months. They want that to be done. They will help you out if there's some kind of delays, but they really want to see that you have a plan to get this done within 6 months. The big takeaways that you want to make sure you have is you need to isolate the property and speak with one of us about it first and say, gosh, does this make sense? Is this priced at a level that I could add value to it and, get it done in a timely manner? And then ultimately, you need to get bids very quickly. They need to be very thorough bids so we can have a good grasp of what the project will be. We're very good, our department here is very good at reading these bids and knowing what, if they make sense or not, because the worst thing that can happen is you go way over budget and you can't complete the project. So we're going to vet it as well as we can so we can make sure that you have enough money to complete this project.
Absolutely, because if you don't have the money, we don't want to front the money. So we want to make sure that the project makes sense and is going to be able to be completed when it's all said and done.
But ultimately, this is a super unique product. We love Alaska Housing. We love their renovation program. Just give us a call. Give your favorite loan originator here at Residential Mortgage a call, and ask if it's right for you, and we can walk through it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
This podcast is sponsored by Residential Mortgage, LLC, NMLS numbers 167729, 196, 576, and 1820404. Equal housing lender.